Alright lads, so since this morning we did get the full information regarding the 3 end-of-year characters, and since every character for the year 2022 has officially been revealed, I want to use this video as a way to recap the year 2022, go over some of the months, what characters aged the best, what characters were overall really worth summoning for in hindsight now that we have every single character, and maybe talk about what character they should have done instead, or maybe what they should have done to capitalize on the hype, and you know what we're referring to, so let's jump straight into it. Before we do though, actually in the comments below, let me know what you guys think about the characters that did release in the year 2022. I think I'm pretty happy with the outcome. There was obviously a lot of hyped characters, a lot of exciting remakes and banners and stuff like that, but for the most part I'm actually quite happy with the fact that this year in particular we did get a lot of really good premium characters, something that every year in the last 3 or so years has lacked, and at the same time we got a lot of new characters that previously didn't have a 5-star form, so I'd like to see that more representation. So I'm curious to know what you guys think about this particular year. So firstly, let's look at January. So January is a pretty exciting month for the sole purpose because we did get some really good changes regarding some of these mid-month characters. Most notably, Byakuya and Renji, it was a Fierce Battle banner, and we did see that Fierce Battle banners are kind of going back in time. Previously, the Fierce Battle banners were focused on the Hueco Mundo part, and they were always progressing in the story, so that means if we skipped a certain fight, they weren't going to get a Fierce Battle character. So it was nice to see us go back to Soul Society and get some really cool Soul Society remakes, in this case, Byakuya and also Renji. Renji is quite notable for the fact that he is a transforming character, and sadly enough, the only transform character in the year 2022, and at the same time, Byakuya and Renji were the first extended soul traits, with Byakuya having 30% null attack damage and Renji having 30% full stamina damage. That's the first big change we saw in 2022. We saw some really high valued soul traits, and it was great to see a lot of premium characters get that particular treatment, especially mid-month characters. The month ended with Rankyu and also Rukia, and Rankyu really didn't age the best. She's definitely still usable in a lot of different content, and namely IT, but Rukia was definitely the standout character for the month and definitely aged the best over time, mainly because she was a ranged NAD character with guard break, and most importantly had the booster skill. The first time we saw it, it's a very powerful skill, and I and many others use her in a lot of different guild quest teams, and that's why she was voted in the poll selection. She definitely aged quite well and one of the better characters and best character to release in the month of January. February was a pretty exciting month. I do like the mid-month character choice, and in this case we got a Findor, Abirama, and also Nerge. Nerge and Abirama getting their first characters in-game, which is obviously exciting to see. Both of these characters were quite good, Nerge being a 50% increased drop on Crystal and Jewels, Abirama being a much needed support for the Ranger Spider guild quest, and then Findor was probably the most forgettable of the 3, but I think a lot of people were just excited to see him actually get a 5-star character treatment. The end of the month ended with Yoruichi and Soifon being in their Beyond Bankai forms. This is one of the ones I was looking forward to, and again, these characters aged quite well. I don't use Soifon that much anymore, but she's definitely still great in guild quests where she is the best booster for that particular guild quest, the Mili no affiliation one, and then Yoruichi was a character that rivaled 6th Anniversary Aizen, a really fun to play SP character even nowadays. I think these two characters aged quite well, and again I'm excited to see them in the end of year banner as fillers. March was a pretty interesting month for the main reason because usually K-Lab don't give good treatment to male seasonal characters. A lot of these seasonal banners are focused on females, and the month of March we had 2 seasonal banners, and both of them were focused on male fan service. We had the White Day, or aka Party Time Aizen, and also Toshiro. Aizen being a really good support NAD character for the Melia Spider guild quest, so we're starting to see these, you know, somewhat difficult guild quests start to be filled out with some good supports. And Toshiro was the first character to come with droplet increase and also link swap potion increase, making him a good epic raid farmer, and I believe this was probably around the time when they made the change in epic raids where you wanted to bring characters like this. And this is also the start of us starting to get some characters specifically designed for epic raid content. It was nice to see Haribel get the arena treatment. I was always wanting a new resurrected Haribel, and yeah, she's pretty good. And then the month ended with a Cacao Society, Grimjow, and Ogura, 2 of the most standout characters of the year. Ogura being a really good again support or main character for the Espada guild quests, and Grimjow being the first super Linkster character to not be a Burn the Witch character. Was definitely an interesting choice because this was a Cacao Society banner, especially because Cacao Society was a thing of the past. They kind of just stopped doing it. So I guess it was kind of nice to see an old seasonal banner return with new and some pretty cool looking characters. April was a very exciting month, at least for me, a fan of the Kenpachis. In this case, the arena banner started off with Rose, again pretty interesting choice. Mid-month was a pretty sleep banner. The only standout here being Gin. Was very happy to see Gin get a remake, by the way, because I know a lot of people were hoping for a Hueco Mundo Gin remake, and we got exactly that, and he's just a really good character in general, one of the best NAD characters in my opinion just to play with, given how his NAD string does actually work. But the month ended with an absolute banger, and in this case we got the triple Kenpachi banner. I think all three characters were great on release. Kenpachi unfortunately being another power super killer, but at the very least he was the best in the attribute. Very fun character. As a Shiro, great survivability and also DPS at the same time with 2 killers. That's what I liked about this particular character, and the most exciting thing about him is that he was the long-awaited speed character with the Aaroniero killer. That was something the attribute was lacking in. And for at the very least the next 3 or so months, he was the best speed Aaroniero killer. And then Kurashiki unfortunately was a night character designed for Brave Battles that you couldn't really use outside of Brave Battles other than Guild Quests. But the way Brave Battles has been heading, Kurashiki is still an amazing character, was on release, and is now getting better because we are getting a new speed captain, which Kurashiki is going to have no problem dealing with. But at least for me, the most exciting part about this banner was that it was a free character banner. The first free character end of month banner. January, February, and March only had 2 characters, and I think I speak for everyone when I say we don't like 2 character banners, especially when it came to end of month characters. It's more boring in my opinion when there's less characters to talk about, and in this case having a triple Kenpachi banner, all characters being great, it was a fun time playing BBS. In May, we saw our final arena banner. After May, these stopped becoming a thing, which was great in my opinion, because the problem with arena banners is that it was always taking a character from either mid-month or end of month, and that's why ever since arena banners were introduced in 2021, we saw a lot of 2 character banners. And the problem with arena characters is that they were always in their own banner, and no one's going to pull for a premium character by themselves, right? So it was nice to see that they were going away from arena banners, especially because now end of month and mid-month characters can just get the arena treatment. I will say though, one of the great things about the arena banners was that it gave us really good premium characters. But in the same month when we got the last arena banner, we started to see a change in BBS with us getting a premium end of month banner, something that didn't happen for the last 2 to 3 years. So this was a very big surprise to see, but it was great, and that's why I don't think we need arena banners anymore to give us good premium characters, because they can just give us a premium end of month banner. In this case, we got Shinji, Lisa, and Love. Love being an example of an arena character not in their own banner. Lisa being the minor character we desperately needed, a very good character with that, and Shinji just being a really good character, very similar to Rukia, being a team booster with the booster skill. These 3 characters aged quite well in my opinion. They're all fun to play around with, and it was nice to see us get some visors with the actual visors mask on. In June, we saw some remakes of some filler characters. Now, I'm not really a big fan of the fillers in Bleach. I haven't even seen this filler arc, but I do know of the characters, and I was happy to see Nozomi and also Oko get a remake. In Nozomi's case being another example of a epic grade farmer, Oko being a premium Brave Battle character, which is something that we haven't had in many years actually, and also has now gotten better because we are getting new Sajin, and then Kagarosa getting his first character in the game, and also just being a really good character in general, also excelling in arena. The month ended with a swimsuit banner. Swimsuit Nelio, Momo, and Isane. Was nice to see Isane finally get the seasonal treatment, especially in a swimsuit banner, and Nelio was a pretty cool remake. In this case, all 3 characters offered really good value, with Isane being an epic grade farmer, increasing the amount of droplets and links or potions you get, whereas Nelio and also Momo were the super links or characters for their respective attributes. Pretty good month value-wise. Almost every character here still holds up, and are some of the better characters of the year actually, even the premium characters. July was an absolute banger of a month, of course. In this case, we only got 5 characters, but every character we did receive this month was a different attribute, and all of them were basically the best in said attribute, or at least in what they do. In this case, our anniversary for this year was 7th anniversary Ichigo and also Uryu. It was nice to see Uryu get an anniversary character, despite me not really thinking he would actually get it because he wasn't quote-unquote popular enough, and I still stand by that. I feel like if he was by himself, it wouldn't be a smart decision, but since he was fronting with Ichigo, yeah, it made sense. I do like the designs of both of these characters, and the OSC that came alongside it was really exciting. Most importantly though, these were 2 characters that needed to be in the game in my opinion when it came to the attribute and killer combinations. Mind was severely lacking, with Lisa being the new best character for Mind, so Ichigo coming out was nice to see, especially because he has a lot of usability in Guild Quest, which is something that we also wanted to see him have. So Ichigo is almost perfect, despite having that little drawback with his SA1. I think he's aged quite well, and definitely again one of the better characters from the year, and in Uryu's case, an amazing character. One of the most fun to play characters in the game, probably the most fun to play character in the game, which is the way the character was designed, and the fact that he was a speed character was the most important part. Speed again was lacking, it's still lacking in my opinion, and while Azashu was nice to have as our new best speed Aaroniero killer, he wasn't the answer that we wanted. This Uryu was the answer that we wanted. And then literally a week later, we saw the return of 1,000 Year Blood War, a very big moment in Bleach Brave Soul's history. And in this case, we got a new Yuha, Yamamoto, and also Aizen. Now, I had a hot take back when this banner came out, and I said this banner should have been Spirit's Half Overview. And now that we have the end of year, and you know, some people are disappointed that it isn't 1,000 Year Blood for end of year, I think my hot take has aged quite well. I at the very least believe that Toshiro, Kaname, and Sajin would have worked better as an anniversary banner, and instead of giving us Yuha, Yamamoto, and Aizen, I think it would have been a tad bit more hype if they were our end of year characters. And I believe that's what Caleb should have done. But regardless, they didn't do that, and these three characters again, great. Yamamoto breaking the game in my opinion. Guild Quest is completely changed with this particular character. Aizen was a NAD character with the gauge effect that was recently introduced a week prior with Uryu. Was nice to see that new mechanic in the game, and Aizen was a really fun NAD character, changing the way I see NAD characters in my opinion. And then Yuha, despite having the initial disappointment of being another Brave Battle character, at the very least he was the best Brave Battle character, and I probably think still is the best Brave Battle character, and also sees now a lot of usage in his Guild Quest, for example, because he does have the boost to SA2. So yes, it was a bit disappointing that he wasn't an SP broken character. Would have loved to play with him. That will eventually happen, but at the very least he still has a lot of usability, and I almost use this Yuha almost on a day-to-day basis, so I really can't complain. This month was a great month for BBS. The excitement was there, and all 5 characters were great. Whether you got them max duped or you only got them 1 out of 5, I think a lot of people were just happy to have these characters because they're amazing. Definitely the highlight of the entire year. August was probably a very sleep month, especially when we look at what came after and also came right before. So the August mid-month banner saw us get a TLA remake of Toshiro, Jusra, and also Soifon. Was nice to see that in my opinion, and Toshiro was also the first character to implement the soul trait of droplets. So by using it as a link, you can get additional droplets. That was, I guess, one of the bigger changes for this particular month, and we saw more of that in 2022, and we're definitely going to see more of it in 2023. But then Caleb ended the month with a 2-character banner, Roka and also CN. And in hindsight, knowing again what came out before and also after, this banner didn't really age the best. Not only were we getting back-to-back 3-character banners, regardless of how good Roka and CN were actually going to be, having a 2-character end of month banner is a tad bit disappointing. And then given the fact that CN doesn't increase the normal link shot potion drop rate, and Roka, despite being a really good character in my opinion, she was overshadowed by Beyond Bankai Retsu. And then again, given the fact that 1,000 Year Blood War, Ichigo, Uryu, and Chad released next month, broken characters, if you look at only these 3 months, August was pale in comparison to what July and September offered. And that's kind of sad to see. I'm a massive fan of CN and Roka, and to see them get this treatment is kind of sad, I'm not gonna lie. These 2 characters were nowhere near as good as what September and July brought us, and the fact that they were thrown in between as a 2-character banner, yeah, definitely was a banner that didn't age well. And if you skipped it, you probably did a good thing, because yikers. I'm glad I got really lucky on this banner that I didn't go too deep, because if I did, I would have been disappointed looking at how many orbs I could have potentially spent on that particular banner. But for September, it was a pretty good month. We did see a remake of an OG Retsu, something that we didn't have for basically the last 7 years. Orihime we finally saw in the Soriba outfit, and Hinataro finally got his first premium character, and they're all pretty good. I think all 3 are quite good in my opinion. And then the month ended with a very exciting banner. Our first anime characters, Ichigo, Uryu, and Chad. Was a tad bit weird that we already had another Ichigo and Uryu when we just got it back in July. But these 3 characters, despite being a tad bit disappointing on the initial reveal, because we couldn't see what skills they had, these characters were absolutely broken. Ichigo being one of the more fun and best characters in the entire game, having a ridiculous kit and breaking a game mode inheritance trials to the likes that we'd never seen before. Uryu being the ultimate farmer and first character to have droplet, link shot potion, and super link shot potion all built into him. And then Chad was the first Brave Battle character with 2 killers, and very similar to Yuha, had a boost SA2 with the booster skill, so we saw a lot of usage outside of Brave Battles, which I do like. This month was a great month for BBS, the excitement was there, and these 3 characters again aged quite well. October was a pretty big surprise for the main purpose because we didn't get a limited banner. The mid-month banner for October, I kind of like that we got a new Kensei, but at the same time, we already received a Shinji and Rose in this particular year. Both of the previous characters actually being better than these 2. And given the fact that we have yet to get a new Hiyori, Mishiro, or Hachigan, yeah, I didn't like the character choice for this particular month, especially for this particular banner. Same goes to the end of month banner. We saw a premium end of month banner. That was a very big shocker to a lot of all of us. I do again like what they did. Mayuri being a premium option to beat the melee Espada guild quest, something that we kind of needed. The Espada characters were lacking, especially as a main lead. Although I don't think he aged quite well, given the fact that he kind of got power crept a month later. In hindsight, definitely would have preferred if he got a different killer, but it was nice to see an iconic moment reanimated, I guess, in BBS, with Mayuri being the first character to use a Bankai Bankai, and him getting a good character was definitely exciting. Kisuke, I still think shouldn't have been in the banner. I understand it, but that was probably the most disappointing character of the entire year, in my opinion. And Akon, it was nice to see him get his first playable character. And yes, I know the Meta Exchange character exists, but that don't count. He's not playable. This Akon is playable, and was also our first Super Linkster character for the premium attribute. So that was also nice to see. November, we saw us go back into the past, getting a past version of Gin, Kaname, and also Aizen. Was pretty excited about that for the main purpose because I think a lot of us wanted it. And it's kind of funny that when we saw this, we said, okay, we aren't getting Beyond Bankai Gin anytime soon because he just got a character. But I guess we should have been focusing on Kaname, and Kaname is one of the few characters now to get a new character and then almost back-to-back get another new character. Like the release date between the past Kaname and also the Beyond Bankai Kaname, it's less than 2 months, which is on the very, very rare side. Rarely does it ever happen, and who would have thought it would have happened to a Kaname? But the end of month did bring us a pretty big surprise, us getting a 3rd anniversary Aaroniero remake, being one of the best speed characters in the entire game. Again, something the speed attribute did need, breaking guild quests like Yamamoto did, but this time he has a Sparta killer, so that's why I feel like Mayuri didn't really age the best unless you're going to use him as a side, which you definitely can do. All 3 characters were great in my opinion. The renewed version of Aaroniero almost being a must-have. So Gunded Tappa being on the least exciting side because he's just a nerd character for guild quests, but still a good character nonetheless. And then the Hidden Oak being a very good character to farm IT with, and the fact that he came again with the droplet increase, Linkstop potion increase, and also super Linkstop potion increase, and the fact that he was a premium character was great for the game's health. And even though I don't have him now, I'm definitely going to pull him sometime in the future, and I'll be happy to because he's a great character. And then we come to December. For our first set of banners, we had a mid-month Christmas banner with Haribo and also Yoruichi. Again, not really the biggest fan of these designs. And overall, the banner was a tad bit disappointing given the fact that it was a 2-character banner. As I already mentioned, 2-character banners being a thing was understandable because we were getting arena banners, but in a case like this where almost every other month is having 3-character mid-months and end-of-months, if I ever see a 2-character banner, it's going to be disappointing. Especially if the banner following it isn't a 4-character banner. There was no reason for this to be a 2-character banner. We kind of got robbed of a 3rd character here that could have had an also pretty cool design. Maybe we could have finally gotten a Mila Rose seasonal character. That would have been really cool. And I feel like would have rounded up the banner quite well and made this banner a tad bit more appealing. And then the end of year ends with, again, Spirits Arthur with you Toshiro, Kaname, and also Sajin. We got the skills and data mined. We got the skills announced this morning. All 3 characters are great. I'm pretty excited for them, but again, I know some people are still not over the fact that 1,000 Year Blood War wasn't the end of the year. And that's why, again, I believe that they probably should have given us Safui for end of month July and then gave us that 1,000 Year Blood War banner with Yama, Aizen, and also Yuha for end of year instead. If there was one thing I would change in the year 2022, it would definitely be that. But overall, 2022, I think was a good year. We saw a lot of changes, most notably some characters with some increased soul traits, like, again, Fierce Battle introduced at the start of the year, 30% full stam, 30% normal attack damage. We saw more characters this year than ever get 2 killers, with 9 characters getting the double killer treatment. We saw a new type of epic raid farmer with characters increasing the amount of droplet and Linkstop potions you get. We saw more super Linkstop characters this year, more premium end of month characters this year, more premium Linkstop characters this year, characters that are game breaking in guild quests and inheritance trials. Brave battles became a lot more healthier in my opinion, with all these brave battle characters not being super broken and it's being quite fair. Like even Sergeant, who's going to be great to counter Yuha and also Chad, is already seeing counters with other characters that are already in the game. And then we did see some characters get some new characters for the first time. Again, Nerge, for example, Abirama getting their first character. Saw some exciting remakes. So overall, I think it was a pretty exciting year. I think we had a lot of exciting periods, a lot of great characters, some disappointments, some fumbles, but that's just the nature of BBS, right? With that said though, hope you guys did enjoy this. Quite a long video. I wanted to make it a tad bit shorter, but I've realized now we've just been speaking for like 20 or so minutes, but I think it's pretty cool to recap on some of the things. And again, in the comments below, let me know what you would have changed in the year 2022. I think the 10-month gap between Beyond Bankai characters definitely lessened the hype to a certain extent, and them dropping a Spirits Arthur view banner when all the excitement was focused on 1,000 Year Blood War is definitely one of the bigger fumbles of the entire year. But with that said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time. Take care and peace.